M.M Out here again, over there, everywhere, all over the place. Part 2 of a discussion about the budget with the apostle, beg your pardon, Leroy Scantlebury. And we welcome him once again. Hello, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris.
Yes. Now, when we last left off, we were talking about those school children traveling on the bus free. And I think it's a ridiculous and insane thing that the former Prime Minister David Thompson did by allowing those children to travel free. And the thing is that they have to pay on the PSVs. And I think that it should be enforced that they should be made to drive on the designated buses and not be allowed to travel on the PSVs.
Well, I'm going to say if we're going to go that far out to make sure that there's transportation for them, should be at least $5 a week.
At least $5 a week?
At least $5 a week, yes.
Well, right now they're paying, how much do they pay the PSVs?
$2 really.
$2.
Okay.
I personally see some of them going up and down. And I don't think that they're traveling free.
Well, it's Jolly Reagan in
like
some cases.
$10.
Yeah, but in some cases what I'm saying is that when I was going to school, at primary school, a bus ticket was $7.50 a week. We're living in a better time. I don't see why it should be free for kids to ride to school in a day like today.
Well, as I said, I thought David Thompson was all right, but I think that he had a rush of insanity, and it's because of that greatly assisted the transport board in being in the predicament that it is today.
That's so true. That's so true.
Now, I have here another. This guy doesn't want me to mention his name.
Okay.
But what he's saying is that, well, I'll mention his initials, JB. That in the recent budget, he wants to know if you ever heard of indirect taxation. And he's actually saying that Dennis Kelman was an advocate of indirect taxation. And that the Honorable Mia Motley, Minister of Finance and Prime Minister, actually was imitating Dennis Kelman in many ways, but putting a little twist on it. And because of that little twist, it shall not work. That's what JB is saying. And since I've actually digested what he did talk to me about, I realized that what he's saying is actually true. What do you think about indirect taxes?
Well, it's not a topic that I've really paid a lot of attention to, but I would always advocate the fact that those who make more in Barbados should pay more. Okay, and I think again, as far as taxation is concerned, it should be staggered and probably monitored. I would venture right now on the show to say that I think that the NSRL that was imposed by the former administration was brilliant.
That was something that was brought on by Chris Sinclair, the former Minister of Finance. Who, by the way, I saw yesterday and had a conversation with for about 10 minutes. And he is actually going to appear on my show sometime in the future. We made that agreement yesterday, actually. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it was very good for business in Barbados. I think it made the business owners stretch more. I think it made them realize that if they're going to profit in Barbados, they need to bring quality to the table. And it made them become better negotiators in terms of what they're doing abroad to bring products and goods into Barbados. And then it also made our local manufacturers to look up. So the National Social Responsibility Levy, which is actually called taxation on imported goods and also locally made goods as well. I think that was a very good idea. It shouldn't be removed. I think the idea of removing it kind of brought excitement to the population in terms of the election. But looking forward, when you look at what is being done by government right now, it is the NRSL in a different way. The NSRL in a different way.
In a different way.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something. Why is it that if the guy from the other side has a good point, a good idea, and you are actually, not you in general,
Okay.
and you are actually in power, and you know that his idea can actually work, and you refuse to implement it because you don't want to give him the credit, or you don't want to do it because he came up with it.
Well,
why is that?
that's it's insanity, really, because you're looking at moving a country forward. I think what we do here in Barbados is that we look at the person who's bringing the idea more than the idea itself, and we sideline brilliant ideas because we don't want it to be said this is the person who came up with the idea. I think many times we're looking for the brilliant ideas from brilliant people, but most of the times we get brilliant ideas from people that we would not consider at the upper echelon of the educational spectrum. So I think we have a little shame in Barbados when it comes to taking ideas that's been given to us by individuals that could actually work and make things better, make things more efficient.
Well, I see a benefit in if I know that this guy has a good idea, I would implement it, and I would even give him credit because he can't do anything over there. I can do it because I'm in power.
There's a difference in what you're speaking about. There is a nationalism versus governmental system, and the government has to understand you're still, as a member of parliament, you're still a part of our nation.
Yes,
and
a part of, actually in a way, a part of government,
right.
In a way.
And the people of Barbados are the government of Barbados. So you have to understand that the people are the ones who elect you. You are the servant of the people. The people are not there to serve you.
And I'll tell you this. I'll give you a perfect example. Dennis Kelman talking about an airport in St. Lucie that they call stupid. The only reason that they have not built or have plans to build an airport in St. Lucie is because Dennis Kelman came up with the idea, and they would probably be ashamed to do it. But I don't think that he would be proud if he did it, if the BLB did do that, right? He wouldn't want any credit either, you could take the credit. Now, you did mention that in the budget, St. Peter there was some money allocated to St. Peter to do something?
Yeah, because my understanding is that there were funds allocated for several what we would call hot spots across Barbados, Bridgetown, Oyster Indies.
And Spikestone was one of them?
Spikestone was one of them as well too. So we'll see how that works out.
If it comes to fruition.
If it does come to fruition, yes.
Now, not wanting to give away any of your strategy. Anything advice other than what Joe Anthony, the leader of the opposition, what he said about the budget? You have anything new that you can actually add to that without giving away your strategy?
Well, it's again. Let me just put it like this, okay? I think budgets are always centered around the financial element, okay? I think there's a lot more that has to be done in terms of making Barbados more viable as a country. I don't see a lot of our budgets focusing on how we are taking Barbados into the future and what we're going to be like 4 or 5 years from now. I think we're still playing the game of working pieces and parts to try to bring a whole. It's not going to work. But I would suggest to in future governmental structures as it regards Barbados, there's a need for harnessing our people and a need for harnessing the talents and the abilities of our people. I would go back and venture to say this, that I think the late Right Honorable Aaron Bauer had the right idea of industrializing Barbados. I think the future is going to be technology and science, and I think that's a direction that we need to work in, because we can actually have tremendous revenue from those two areas.
Well, that brings back memories of those factories, like Elite and those garment factories and so on.
That's right.
They even had one in Nesfield.
That's right.
And employed a lot of people.
You had the Grisette Industrial Estate.
Yeah, but
Newton, you had,
as you said, the whole estate in Grisette.
Exactly.
And Newton as well.
So there's really shame that successive governments have come after this and done their best to dismantle these industrial
But
estates.
listen, it's sort of the reverse of what we were talking about, you know.
Yeah, well,
You don't want to implement this guy's idea,
right,
so then when you actually get there, you destroy what he did.
right.
You remove it,
So-
you put it down.
So let me say this again in my studies of what has happened here politically. Our governments after let me cut it off at Lloyd Erskine Sandyford, okay, who was responsible for the Sherburne Conference Center that they call the White Elephant. That is now the premier conference facility within the Caribbean.
Yes, and the
That
Caribbean.
was called
A white elephant,
by
yeah.
the Barbados Labour Party. Okay? When we're looking at these ideas for the future, all right, and we're looking at what great leaders did in Barbados in terms of moving us towards a destination, we're not seeing that, so we're not being led.
Mhm.
Okay? So let's look at our cotton industry. Let's look
Well,
at
cotton is down to
tobacco.
nothing.
Okay, we're
Isn't
let's-
hard see, I don't cotton a
Right.
rare thing?
Of course, look at our sugar industry. Every time that a certain sector of our nation comes up with an idea, the government follows. So when those individuals move from sugar now, which they have, to hotel, to tourism, the government shifted to tourism. Now they're shifted to high-end tourism. The government is shifting to high-end tourism, which is bringing in the Hyatt and so on and so forth. You have to understand the concept of what is happening. You are to lead, you are not to follow.
Yeah.
That's why we have a
You got to
government.
be a leader like
You
Mr.
must,
Barrow.
you must be a leader and not a follower. And what we're doing is that we're constantly putting followers to lead us. And that's our big issue.
And right now they're following the directions of the International Monetary Fund.
Yes.
Now, Apostle, our time is running out, as you can see the light here coming on. So I want to ask you quickly.
Yes, sir.
I know it's not a year yet, but how 1 out of 10 do you rate Colin Jordan as a representative of St. Peter and as a minister of labor?
Okay, well, let me just say this. I made up my mind that I will give this government and also Mr. Jordan a full year to do what they need to do. Then I will be making my assessment after that year. But let me say this in terms of the present government. There are many people across Barbados who are now feeling the pain. Many of them are stating that they feel like they have made an error in selecting them to lead this country going forward. And based on that, that assessment, that voice that is within the public domain, that's really where I leave my assessment where that is concerned in terms of our people.
So what you're saying is that Mr. Jordan has a reprieve.
Well, yeah.
For the time being,
Yeah.
Colin, you got a reprieve coming from the Apostle.
Yeah.
Now, our time is basically out.
Yes, sir.
And as usual, as I always say, when you're talking to the Apostle, there's so much knowledge that the time just flies away. So what we're saying, and we're going to continue this.
Yeah.
M.M Out There, out here, over there, everywhere, gone for now. Let's make our exit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, bye.